This video is sponsored by War Thunder. We'll talk about that later. Alright, so Xbox did the thing. They announced Indiana Jones is coming to PS5, and I don't really know why anyone is surprised by this, nor do I get really why anyone's mad about it, frankly. If you're an Xbox dude, I'd imagine you should be used to Xbox Studios games going to different platforms by now, and I'd imagine you would be fine with that by now, because it makes Xbox more money, and Xbox can use that money to make more Xbox Studios games. And if you're a PlayStation dude, I would imagine you're also used to first-party games getting ports to different sets of hardware, because Sony's been doing that forever, and by now you should understand that this is an effective strategy for making as much money as possible off a game that was going to be made either way. More people getting to play more games is always a good thing, and console exclusives are just super lame at this point because they prevent consoles from properly competing with each other. If consoles don't hold software hostage, it forces them to make themselves more appealing to the buyer as consoles and as platforms. When exclusives go away, the platforms themselves get better. And if you are basing your platform buying decisions on exclusive games and nothing else, that's because you're not a smart consumer. I would say sorry for being blunt, but I really just don't care at this point. I'm a PC player. I'm completely outside of this whole debate, so maybe I'm missing something. I kind of doubt it, but I just think this whole thing is entertaining. And after the announcement that Indiana Jones is actually going to be a timed Xbox console exclusive and will be coming to PS5 in the spring, Twitter unsurprisingly melted down on all sides of the console war debate, so in this video we're just going to take a look at some of the most ridiculous Indiana Jones PS5 takes, and maybe we can narrow down some intelligent discourse about the nature of console exclusivity and the value or lack thereof of console exclusives, what they do or do not offer the consumer. And yeah, no, this discourse was toxic as shit, and we're just gonna make fun of everybody for taking video game platforms too seriously. So some of these are responses to news posts, some of them are their own individual posts, but they're all really stupid for really different reasons. So let's just dive right into this together, and we can all just die from stupid. What a wonderful way to spend our Fridays together. Ugh, I did not mix that coffee very well. Ooh, I did not do that well. Blech. Say with me, kids, blech. Twin War says this is Xbox bowing to PlayStation. It is over. Okay, so by this logic, Sony has been bowing to the PC for like years now. They've been bowing to Steam. Is that an argument you're willing to make, that PlayStation's been bowing to Steam? No, you're not willing to make that argument? Okay, cool, then stop. It's a dumb argument. Sony is publishing Horizon on the Switch day one. Is that Sony bowing to Nintendo? Are you willing to say that? No? Okay, cool, shut up. It's a corporation making more money off the product they were going to develop regardless of platform exclusivity. No one is bowing to anybody. Xbox is about to make a whole bunch of money off of PlayStation players. They're not bowing to anybody, they're finding a new source of revenue. Microsoft knows that the PlayStation players who still have not converted to Xbox, they were never going to convert to Xbox, so why would they act like they would? And it's not like porting this game to PlayStation is going to take up a giant chunk of development resources. Multi-platform games come out just fine all the time, and the people working on Indiana Jones are the same people who developed all the Wolfenstein games, which were multi-platform, so it's not like they've never worked on PlayStation games or never worked on multi-platform games before. It's not a resource problem. Genuinely, if they're not going to convert people to the Xbox, why would they not do this? They're going to make a whole lot of money off of sales on the PlayStation. Those sales would not have been made otherwise, because people who bought a PlayStation and do not want an Xbox, which by the way, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not even trying to shame you for not wanting an Xbox. I don't even own an Xbox. Well, that's not true. I still own the Xbox One VCR thing, but that's also basically been relegated to a Hulu box for the last like 6 years. So I don't know if I really count as an Xbox owner anymore. But genuinely, why would they not do this? They're not going to convert the PlayStation players, so why not make money off of them anyways, with a team who has experience making PlayStation games? It's like, nobody's bowing to anybody. This is so dramatic. Why do you care so much? Bone H2X responds to the news of the game going to PlayStation 5, says, SMH, you lost the plot. Yes, making more money is losing the plot for the company that exists to make money. Okay. Panic Gamer also responds to the news and says, you give up on Microsoft and Xbox? Don't complain when all your games get pirated. So just so I have this right, putting the game on more platforms means they gave up on Xbox and Microsoft, even though the game is still there. Also, Bethesda apparently gave up on Microsoft, even though they're owned by Microsoft. So Microsoft gave up on Microsoft. That doesn't make a lot of sense. But also, the game is available on more platforms for more people to buy, but this means that everyone is going to pirate all the Bethesda games. So you're suggesting that the people who were going to buy the game are no longer going to do so and are now going to pirate it because more people can buy it. You actually think that Xbox players at large are that fragile? Not the Twitter Xbox fans. We're talking like Xbox players at large. You're saying all the games that Bethesda makes are going to get pirated because Indiana Jones is not Xbox exclusive. You actually think the buying populace is as fragile as you? You genuinely think the people who were planning on buying this game were only doing so because it wasn't on PlayStation? Holy shit, eat a Snickers. This isn't normal. This is not how the world works. What is wrong with you? This one's fun. Unleashed tweets out a picture of the PS5 announcement and says, Xbox is dead. Let's go PlayStation. But then a few hours later, he tweets out, Indiana Jones is going to sell more on PS5 than Xbox and PC combined. So, Xbox is dead, but also you're preemptively bragging about how much money Xbox is going to make off of the PlayStation. Xbox is dead, but also you're preemptively bragging about how much money Xbox is going to make off of your community. Xbox is dead because you are going to give them a lot of money. My boy, my son, what's wrong with you? This video is brought to you by War Thunder, a free-to-play vehicular combat game that you've probably heard of. War Thunder features over 2,500 tanks, planes, boats, helicopters, basically everything that you would think of when you think of military vehicles, and they come from 10 different nations around the world. So if you're a military history buff, you'll probably get a kick out of some of these vehicles, because several of them date all the way back to the 1920s. And there's a lot of focus placed on the immersion factor and bringing these real-world vehicles to life, which is super commendable for a free-to-play game. War Thunder is also pretty loaded with content, and the vehicle damage system is super intricate, so you can damage individual parts of an enemy vehicle, like the fuel tank or the engine, and then if you get taken out that way, you'll get an X-ray view of exactly what happened to your vehicle and which components led to your demise. It's a cool system for a combat game like this. So there's tons of vehicles to use, the combat and immersion factor are great, and there's options in game modes for a more casual, gamey experience or something closer to an actual simulation game. War Thunder is available for free on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox, and there's a link in the video description and in the pinned comment for you to use if you're new to the game, because if you sign up using my link, you'll get a big bonus pack featuring some premium vehicles and an exclusive vehicle decorator called Eagle of Valor. You'll also get 7 days worth of a premium account for free if you use my link, so you can give it a try before committing to anything, and you'll also get 100,000 silver lions. Also, if you've already played War Thunder but you haven't played in at least 6 months, you can still use my link in the description to get all that bonus content. So try out War Thunder, it's free to play, it's got some cool stuff, and they were generous enough to sponsor the video, so give it a shot for that at the very least. Okay, back to whatever nonsense you were watching before. Japan hates Xbox, says exclusives are everything to a console. If you don't have exclusives, you have a cuck box. If you don't have exclusivity, you are a sub-male loser. Xbox is for losers. By this logic, PlayStation is also a cuck box. You understand that, right? Because how many exclusives does PlayStation have at this point? Like actual exclusives. How many do you have at this point? Demon's Souls? That's coming to PC eventually. Stellar Blade, that's confirmed to be coming to PC. Ragnarok's coming to PC. Spider-Man 2 and Wolverine are both coming to PC. Those both leaked. In fact, both of those games are technically playable on PC right now if you know where to look. Waggle eyebrows. But also, I hate this idea that exclusives are everything to a console. I hate when people say this. It's so plainly not true. If that were the case, the best-selling consoles of all time would be the consoles that were like only exclusives, only S-tier exclusives. And while the best-selling consoles of all time certainly have some great exclusives, a lot of the consoles that had wonderful exclusives were not successful. Thinking of you, GameCube. Thinking of you, Dreamcast. Thinking of you, Wii U. For the first time in like 3 years, it's almost like there is more to a console than the software it holds hostage. It's almost like when you focus on the console itself and what the console as a whole has to offer the consumer, that is what really sells it. I'm not denying that exclusives can make an impact, but they are certainly not everything, and we should never pretend they are, because that's how we get shit like the fucking 8th and 9th console generations. These consoles that are completely driven by software being held hostage when the consoles themselves are garbage and overpriced and charging you out the ass for everything because you didn't demand better from the console itself. You only demanded exclusive properties. You based your buying decision entirely on exclusive games, and then you scratch your head and wonder what happened when improving the console itself is no longer a priority to the companies making them. You people are so strange. But by all means, keep doing this. Keep making tweets like this. I enjoy making videos. Moving on. Snake Venom responds to the news. I believe this was a response to Bethesda's official account making the announcement that it's coming to PS5. He says, yes, we get it. You guys are sellouts. Bethesda, a historically multi-platform company, and a company that still publishes many multi-platform games, they're sellouts because they are checks notes publishing a multi-platform game again. Cool. LJ says, while Sony pays to keep games from Xbox, we hand them games that should stay home. Yes, Sony is choosing not to make money off of the Xbox, while Xbox is choosing to make money off of Sony. This is a W. If you're a Microsoft dude, this is a W. I said it at the beginning of the video. The people who were dead set on PlayStation were never going to go to Xbox. If they haven't done it by now, they're not going to in the future. These are not cheap consoles, so why not make money off of these people this way? You either make money off the PlayStation dudes who don't want an Xbox, or you don't make money off of them. And if you're a gamer, this is a good thing, because it means console exclusivity is becoming more and more of a thing of the past, which means the AAA industry is getting more pro-consumer. It means software isn't being held hostage the way it once was. It means you don't have to pay hundreds of dollars for a machine you don't want. It means the platforms have to find new and better and more pro-consumer ways to compete for your dollar. I hate this idea that somehow multi-platform games don't make money. Multi-platform games have historically made boatloads of money because anyone can buy them. Literally everything about this is good. And you can't see that because you're not actually a fan of games. You are a fan of logos. And it's cringy as fuck. Xbox Indie Gamer says couldn't even give it a year to be an Xbox exclusive. Why even wait until the spring? Just do day and date. Frickin' jokes. Honest question. Would that make you happier? If they did say, oh, Indiana Jones, it's an exclusive to Xbox for a year and then it's going to PlayStation, would that really make you less upset? I really don't think it would. Like, just assessing the vibes here, methinks that wouldn't actually make things better in your perspective, but maybe I'm just overanalyzing. Darius Fears says Microsoft Xbox is literally shooting themselves in the foot by allowing Indiana Jones to come to PlayStation. I understand the business aspect, but this one too big of an Xbox game to go to other consoles in my opinion. So they're shooting themselves in the foot, but you understand the business aspect. You understand the business aspect, but they're also shooting themselves in the foot because of the business aspect. Absolutely fascinating things happening right now on the internets. This is the most intelligent discourse I have ever seen. Project Latitude says, quote, 4 games, no promise beyond that. If you are on other platform, don't take this as a signal. Then they announced Doom Day 1 for PS5 and Indiana Jones a few months after Xbox launch. What a shit shoe, Lamau. I like how people are posting this as if it's an own. Like, Phil literally said, here are 4 games that are going to PlayStation. Or I guess he said 4 games going to other platforms. I can't promise anything after that. That doesn't mean 4 games and then nothing else. That means 4 games that I'm confirming now, and we will confirm some in the future maybe, and I am intentionally leaving it vague. He's literally doing the thing he said he was going to do, and you're treating it like he's lying about this. And like, I've heard the complaints that like Xbox was dishonest about this, Phil Spencer was dishonest about this. That's an entirely different conversation. But this quote specifically is not an own. Nothing in this quote is contradictory to what was announced. He said 4 games announced now, no promise beyond that. How does that contradict anything? Like, I don't get how this is an own. One more, Jason Stetner. This is from the day before it was announced. This is when it leaked, but I feel it's a nice way to wrap things up. He says, Indiana Jones coming to PlayStation as well in early 2025. I just don't see the point in the Xbox console existing anymore. Phil Spencer is basically dreamcasting it, but stretching things out in a more painful way. Clearly, Xbox has entirely given up and is headed for third party. I love how when Sony puts a bunch of their games on PC, or publishes a couple games on Xbox, or even launches a game on the Switch, everyone's like, well, the PlayStation still has value because you get all of the first-party games. And you know, not every platform gets all of the PlayStation first-party games right at launch. But now that Xbox is putting some of their games on PlayStation after a period of timed exclusivity, suddenly the whole internet is like, well, there goes the value of Xbox. Xbox is dead. They've completely given up on Xbox. Like, I hate giving credence to the people who cry Xbox tax at literally everything, but also people like Jason Stetner here make it a little too easy to cry Xbox tax at literally everything because Sony has been third party for years. They have been openly third party for years, and yet when they put their games on PC or when they publish a game on Xbox or Switch, there isn't nearly as much mainstream outcry about it. You don't get Twitter completely filled with people saying PlayStation has no reason to exist anymore. It's almost like that's not how being a console manufacturer and a publisher simultaneously works. But also, just on the subject of being a publisher, Xbox has been third party. Like, they've been a third party publisher. They've been publishing games day and date on PC for close to a decade now. Like, I'm sorry you just now realized that Xbox Studios is a publisher. I guess my bad that you never noticed that over the last 8-9 years. But now that they've made it more obvious to you, you are crying. Like, to put it bluntly, I don't think your disappointment is their fault. It's kind of just yours. Look, like I said earlier, if you want to criticize Phil Spencer and Xbox as a whole, or Microsoft as a whole, if you want to criticize them for not being upfront about this, that's a topic I'm willing to hear. That's a point I'm willing to hear. But also, if you're surprised by this or you didn't see this coming, like, to quote Real Big Fish, where have you been? Have you not been paying attention? Like, I mean, clearly you haven't been paying attention. Xbox Studios games being multi-platform, timed exclusive or not, is good for everyone. It gives the consumer more options. It means Xbox is going to be more focused on making their platform more enticing. And if you really want to look at it this way, if you're like a diehard Xbox guy and you really want to look at it like, oh, Xbox just lost all of its value because it's putting games on PlayStation. If Xbox, here, look, get really close to the screen right now. Listen to me. If Xbox lost all of its value because of some of its games going to PlayStation, that means Xbox as a console needs to do better. Wouldn't you agree? Fuck, like, I don't understand why are all of the whoa. Did you hear my dryer? That was really loud. I don't understand where all the outrage is coming from. Well, I do understand. It's just really stupid. And I'm happy to make fun of it. Indiana Jones looks okay. That's the funniest part. I don't even think the game looks that interesting. It just doesn't really look like my thing, and I just don't trust machine games after Wolfenstein 2 and Wolfenstein Youngblood. Which kind of stings, because Wolfenstein The New Order is one of my favorite games of all time, but I'm happy to see Xbox loosen the grip on exclusivity. I want all companies to do that. Exclusivity is a dumb practice that benefits nobody except the console manufacturer. And if you want to contribute your money to something that benefits only the console manufacturer and actively does not benefit you as the consumer, I'm going to make fun of you because that's goofy. Toodles. Alright, well that was fun. Remember to check out War Thunder with the link in the description. You get all this cool bonus stuff if you use my link in the description. 7 days of premium access for free. 100,000 silver lions that don't actually roar for free. You don't have to pay for it, it's free. That's pretty cool. Do that. Okay, toodles.